Yo, welcome back to the Enrgy podcast, Recharge with Enrgy, the podcast where we speak our mind and don't be lying. You can always follow me at Enrgy23 on Instagram and Enrgy231 on Twitter. Now that that's out the way, my co-host, fresh out of Army basic training in the middle of AIT and making sure your ass is home safe. Jake, what's your opening statement, man?
What's up, guys? Success is inevitable.
It was inevitable, brother. Where can people find you at on social medias? I know you only use certain social medias.
I only use Instagram and Snapchat, so my Instagram is at Jake Swoley, JakeSwoley, and my Snapchat is at Sweeney Jacob, SWEENEYJAK, because I just like to be an outlier, stand out from the crowd, OB. So once again, that is Sweeney Jacob, and you will find me there.
Let's go. They can't stop you. Unstoppable these days. So, all right, man. We both have a couple of topics, basically that we want to touch on, and we already know that they're gonna be a little controversial. So, basically, first topic that I want to go into is still can't get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, and we are approximately a month and 2 weeks. It's been a month and 2 weeks since the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X has come out, and you still can't find it anywhere other than buying it from a scalper for a ridiculously upmarked price. So what I thought was really interesting, though, was this article that I read on it's coming from psu.com. Scalpers reportedly make over $28 million on eBay from PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, which is crazy because I heard that Sony made $7 million in the month of November from selling PlayStation 5s. So, I mean, like, that's kind of crazy. Like, scalpers, in a sense, are making more than these major companies.
Yeah.
Like, for reselling consoles, like, when you think about it. But, I also thought it was interesting. PlayStation 5, by April 2021, they're expected to sell 7 million units, raking in about $3.3 billion, which obviously this is the most. PlayStation 5, Sony said that this is the most that they've ever sold, ever. I think it's actually record-breaking for them as a company, like, just in general, like any gaming hardware. Like, this is the most units sold ever. Like, period.
Yeah.
The demand is ridiculous. You can't find a PlayStation 5 anywhere right now for anywhere under $700. Like, or, you know, not under $700, but basically, yeah, like anything under like $800 or $900 is like kind of the realm. It just depends on where you're looking, I guess. I mean, there's places like StockX and shit like that, but they're still selling it for like $700-800. You go on eBay, they're selling them for $2,000. You go on Mercari, they're selling them for $950. You go on OfferUp, a shit that you were telling me about yesterday.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you would think for multi-billion-dollar companies, they would have something to prevent bots taking all of the stock.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And that's something, you know, that pisses me off with websites like Walmart, websites like BJ's, websites like Amazon, Newegg, all those websites. Good luck getting a fucking PlayStation 5. Websites that are actually good at getting you them are websites like antonline.com, which is where I got mine personally, and then Target, which basically what Target does is, like, it's really complicated. Like, first off, they have like the Rapaccia, I think that's what it's called. It's like a security thing that like you have to, like, you ever seen like the things where it's like highlight the crosswalk and then to verify you're not a robot. Like, it's like they have that in place. And then on top of that, they only do like in-store pickup. Best Buy does something similar to this as well. Like, where you're competing with people in your area, whereas like, you're not competing with people all over the United States. And like, and it can't be a bot that buys the console, because you actually have to go and pick the console up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't just buy multiple, and they limit you to only getting one. So, obviously you could get around that by making multiple accounts, but it's gonna make a lot more people like, it's gonna make it that much harder in a sense. So, I respect places like Target. At least it's like realistic there to get a PlayStation 5. Mm-hmm. But places like Walmart doesn't have like damn near anything in place. And it's ridiculous because, Walmart and Amazon are like, leading the pack as far as like, money goes, as far as like, like companies that like sell shit. Amazon and Walmart are kind of up there, you know what I mean? They're top of the food chain. So, and like they have like the worst like bot protection like known to man. And I don't know if it's like a money thing for them, like they want to,
and that's what I was thinking, is like when you're at the top, at least business wise, I feel like a lot more room for error, because when you're I'm not saying fucking Target is bum status, but when you're just in business in general, when you're lower on the food chain, you stress getting shit right a lot more than someone that's getting funded by
that they, like I said, basically the top of the food chain. So it's like, but Best Buy and Target, I'd say that they're kind of in the same realm, and they both kind of do something very similar, with the whole curbside pickup thing or the in-store pickup thing. Both of those are very good at fighting bots, because not only are you, so when you go to Best Buy and Target and you try and buy a PlayStation 5, it only lets you get a PlayStation 5 within 50 miles of where you live. So basically, like like I said, you're competing with people like in your area, and it's limited to that. So it's just that much.
It could also be something simply as a two-factor authentication. Like you just use your phone number, and you enter the code in. Because I mean, to be honest, if you're buying a fucking gaming console, you should have a phone. I mean.
Well, that's kind of what I mean. I agree with that 100%. Priorities. A phone is a little more important than a gaming console these days. But especially like, let's be honest. Like, the craziest thing about this whole thing is everyone's like, I mean, obviously people are, which we need to go into this. This man yesterday didn't believe that people are actually getting shot over PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
That shit's actually happening. But basically, like, it's crazy everybody's going this wild over the consoles when the consoles don't have any fucking games to play on them. There's nothing to play. So I don't understand like what everybody's like going apeshit about. Yes, the SSD is nice. You get faster load screens. Ooh. You know what I mean? It's like that's about it. Like there's nothing. You're still playing Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, that's been released on another console for the third time.
Yeah.
Like you're playing Call of Duty Cold War that you could be playing on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro, Xbox One X. It's the same shit, bro. Like it's really not.
Probably the Nintendo Switch.
Jesus. Yeah, but it's just, I mean, like right now I'm playing Demon Souls, and I beat Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PlayStation 5, and
Yeah.
while both those games are really good, and I'm in the middle of Demon Souls, you know, obviously I haven't beat that yet. That fucking game's hard as shit. But while those games are good, that's all that there is exclusive to those consoles. And, you know, the Spider-Man Miles Morales isn't even exclusive to the PlayStation 5. You can get that on a PlayStation 4 too.
Yeah.
So, technically, the only exclusive is Demon Souls. And that's not even, like, a new IP or a new game. It's literally just a remaster. So, I don't get it. I don't get why, you know, I get it, the demand's high. It's just like trying to get the Nvidia 30 series cards right now. It's damn near impossible. People are scalping the fuck out of it, and I guess it's an opportunity for a lot of people to make money, especially in a pandemic. Maybe that's why there's people getting shot over the stuff and everything. I mean, people are more desperate than ever, and I get that. But at the end of the day, like, you know, you're not really missing much if you don't have a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, especially an Xbox Series X. What exclusive is on the Xbox Series X? There isn't anything. There's not a damn
He's weak,
bro. Well, now I gotta go edit that out. So.
All right.
Wait, was that for real?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just messing with you, bro.
Oh my god, man.
Sorry, man.
Shout out to fucking Anton and Cam for.
I feel like I just had to put that in there.
I had to, yeah. They fucking, in the first podcast, like, I had to edit shit out because these clowns wanted to play fucking Warzone at the same time we're doing the podcast. It's like, Jesus, like, you know, we're already ghetto rigging the podcast, and then, like, on top of that, we want to fucking play Warzone in the background. Basically, that's my take on it. I'm gonna look this up real quick. You know, and it's funny too because the PlayStation 5, I got one from GameStop also, and when the GameStop ships through FedEx, and when FedEx got my package or whatever, like, to their warehouse in my local, you know, area or whatever, like, they called me and they were like, hey, like, you might want to come and, like, pick this up.
Yeah.
And the reason that being is because there's literally, like, FedEx drivers and UPS drivers that are just stealing PlayStation 5s. Like, they know what your package is. So, like, they literally are losing their jobs and stealing, like, Amazon truck drivers, like, just stealing PlayStation 5s, dog. And if you don't believe me, like, that people would lose their job for some goofy shit like this, look this shit up, bro. Like, people are dying over these game consoles, and it's like, just, it mind boggles me. Okay, look at this. Let's take this, you know, instant for example. I just typed in shot over PS5, and the first thing that came up: teen charged for alleged armed robbery during PlayStation 5 meetup sale in Austin. 15-year-old boy is accused of robbing two people 15 years old, bro. Where the fuck did he get a gun?
Imagine.
All right, to sell a PlayStation 5 console Sunday in Austin. The incident happened about 9 p.m. According to Chicago police. Oh, okay, so it happened in Chicago. It's not Texas, whatever. Two men, 22 and 24, were parked in a vehicle on a block after arranging to meet two other people via a smartphone app to buy a PlayStation 5. The teen and another male allegedly approached the vehicle, pulled out guns, and demanded property from the men before fleeing, police said. Responding officers later arrested 15-year-old who is now facing a felony count of armed robbery with a firearm. Similar robberies have been reported in Michigan, Canada, and New York as opportunists take advantage of shoppers looking to scoop up the popular console ahead of this holiday season. You can't make this shit up, bro. You can't hold on. As a result, gamers are eager to get their hands on next generation machine has been scoring the internet for that. I've never fucking heard anyone use that term before. The internet for available consoles. Such is the demand for the consoles that some are being sold on eBay for as much as $50,000, which obviously nobody's buying a PlayStation 5 for $50,000. But there are people out there that have legitimately spent like close to $2,000 that I've seen, like for this PlayStation 5, bro. And it's like, you know how beastie of a PC you can build? You could build a PC for $2,000 that shits on the PlayStation 5, bro. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. I mean, I guess if you really want to play Demon's Souls that bad, that you want to kill someone for, I mean, more power to you, dog, but couldn't be me.
Yeah, at this point it's just as bad as the drug game, like the small pawn drug game.
Yeah,
where people are,
I can see that.
Which is a whole realm of its own, because then you can dive into, well, is video game addiction a thing? And I think with all this shit happening, it's a clear sign that it has a definite effect on someone's mental state. Because I just the entertainment for video games has gotten to such an extreme.
I know.
Where.
I mean, but the crazy thing is like you were saying, it's really extreme. I just don't ever think there's been a time where it's been this bad.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, like, bro, like, seriously, robbing someone, a 15-year-old robbing someone for a PlayStation 5. Like, and you know what's funny? I've seen this shit too. So poor little Timmy buys a fucking PlayStation 5 for $980, right? They buy it for some rando online that they have no idea where they got the console from. They get the console and it's not registered because it's fucking stolen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was, it's stolen from like a warehouse, or it's stolen from somewhere, and it's not registered like that it was ever purchased. So when you plug the console in, you get a message from Sony that says this console has not been registered, da 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 da. Basically, there's nothing that we can do for you, and the console's bricked. It's just a fucking paperweight. And like, and when you call Sony and you ask them like, hey, like, is, you know, like, I bought this console for like $980 or $1,000, and like, you know, and like, is there anything that like I can do, like, you know, to get it to work? And they tell you no, because there's no way for us to trace where it came from or who paid what, or, you know what I mean? So there's no way to trace anything. So to all these dumbasses that are out there stealing PlayStation 5s from fucking warehouses and just stealing this shit in general, the consoles don't fucking work when you actually do get them, bro. This isn't the 1990s anymore. It doesn't work like that. It's not as plug and play as you think. You actually need internet to like work some of these consoles. And if they're not registered to somebody actually purchasing the PlayStation from a legitimate source, it's not gonna work, dog. So cut the bullshit. Stop killing each other over fucking PlayStations. That's all I got for this topic.
Well, to just finish off with the whole scalping thing, they're able to get away with it because people let them. I think there's been a shift in, and this is before we were born, of society now is, we want satisfaction now. We want lavish things now. And everything's just now. Don't put away for your future. And with that comes a hell of a lot of impatience for financial goals and what have you. and that applies to typical things like phones and gaming consoles. Is people don't want to take the time to weather the storm, wait till Christmas comes around, whatever holiday presents a discount, and these scalpers thrive off of the impatience of the American economy. I can't really speak for any other country, but just how I've seen American society as a whole in this century is just very impatient with their financial goals, and with that presents a clear lane for these people to make a shitload of money.
Which goes back to, like I said, $28 million made on PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's, and that's just on eBay. So that's not factoring in OfferUp, StockX, Mercari. So, and just hand-to-hand deals that people have done, like where people use Cash App or whatever, and just met up in person. So it's a crazy time. It's a crazy time, but I honestly just give it another 6 months and you'll be able to actually find a fucking PlayStation. I don't think you'll be able to find one, either of those consoles in store, like on a shelf, until 2022. But you'll definitely be able to buy them online, like in 2022.
Yeah, people's main excuse for getting them online is this pandemic, this nationwide crisis we're in, known as COVID-19, and yeah, it's just an excuse for a lot of people to shop online, is limiting their exposure to potentially getting COVID.
Yeah. And
COVID just has presented the opportunity for unsuccessful people or just lazy people to have an excuse for why they're not progressing in life.
Well, that goes into the other topic that I told you about, and is COVID an excuse for struggling, or is COVID an excuse, a valid excuse for as to why someone can't be successful at this stage in the game? We're not in we don't understand phases anymore. We know what COVID-19 is. We know that, okay, you gotta wear a mask. Okay, you gotta do this. You gotta do, and restaurants and all this other shit like have to operate at a certain capacity depending on where you live. Is COVID-19 a valid excuse to basically not being successful? Let's say you meet somebody, or you whatever the case is, and you're talking to them and they're like, well, I don't have a job right now, because of COVID. Is that a valid excuse, or is that person just not finding something that maybe they wouldn't have found before? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like COVID-19 has, while it has taken a lot away, it's also given people a lot of time to think and about how they're going to counteract or how they're going to react to what the pandemic has presented. Obviously, the issue is, the economy and everything is just not normal right now. Like, it's not going to be for another year or two, or it's not going to be what we used to know as normal. This is the new normal. So now that we know that, like, we've been in this shit for going on a year now, is it a valid excuse for not being where you want to be at this stage in the game, or starting the process of something that you may have not necessarily tried before COVID?
I'll say from personal experience of getting COVID, actually testing positive, in my BCT experience, all I got was a migraine. Granted, it was like 2 or 3 days of actually having it. It was actually really ridiculous. But just having a migraine was the only symptom I showed. And overall, I think for the younger demographic, they're very minor symptoms. And when you go back to the topic of like games and stuff and them being purchased and online shopping being an excuse for not, or COVID being an excuse for not just going in store. This statistic by Earnest Research says that people aged 18 to 24 are most likely to purchase a game. Well, that obviously shows that the whole demographic of video games and buying gaming consoles is targeted at a younger audience. So there's no reason people shouldn't just be going in the stores, and there's such a huge market for these scalpers to dive into.
And it's an opportunity for people to make money, like doing the whole scalper thing, which makes sense. But like what I'm saying, like as a whole, like at this stage, like the vaccine has, Moderna and Pfizer have come out with, vaccines that, may or may not work. We really don't know. But they have statistic 96 approval or working rate or whatever. So for the most part, we're moving into the recovery stage. I don't think we're quite there yet, but we're moving into that. Is COVID a valid excuse for not being successful at this point? Like with all the grants, I mean, all the stimulus checks, with unemployment going through the roof. Once you file for unemployment or something like that, obviously you're compensated for an extended period of time. Within that time, thinking of doing something else or figuring out something else, or going back to college, or going and learning a new trade, or going and doing something else, like, is it unrealistic? Is it too much to ask for somebody to go out and try something new, I guess? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see COVID at this stage in the game being a valid excuse as to why somebody can't be successful. I don't feel like people should be limited by this pandemic at this stage in the game. What I'm trying to
get. Even when we were deep in the COVID muck, for me, prior to joining the Army, it being over a year process of me trying to get this MOS I wanted, and all the tedious minutia of getting qualified and everything. But in that whole process, I had to obviously fulfill financial needs and paying for my phone bill, my car insurance. So I needed a job while I was trying to get in the Army, and I had a pretty good technician job. I was a windows cleaning / roof technician, pretty good, company car and everything. But I was a few weeks into working this job, and then boom, Washington State puts a restriction for what did they call it, necessary jobs, and we obviously didn't qualify for that. So I was out of a job, boom, right then and there. Did not have anything. Only really option I had was to submit for unemployment or figure out a different job opportunity. So me going in the Army, I was not gonna submit for unemployment. That just is more I have to submit for the Army. the long design process even more. And plus, I'm just never gonna go down to that level of um, taking help from the government. I just don't see myself relying on any sort of unemployment or financial aid besides um, like a student loan or something.
Yeah.
But
and like
yeah,
we're
so
not taking away from like anybody who does submit for unemployment. Like we get it. Like there are people out there that legitimately are in even more unfortunate circumstances. They have like kids and shit that they have to provide for and stuff. Like we understand that. But what I'm saying is and what Jake is also trying to get at is basically is COVID at a year in is sitting on unemployment like an excuse for it at this stage in the game. We're starting the recovery process, and I feel like there's just different opportunities that are there that may have not been
dude,
there
as one door closes, another opens. Like with this COVID stuff, people losing jobs, like it's opened a huge market for ordering food online, and that's what I ended up doing while I was waiting to get in the army, and I was making almost as much as I was at my prior job, and it was easy. It was easier than what I was doing, and I was making almost as much. So
and that right there,
but the whole
like that right there is just an opportunity that you probably would have never taken before, but you did take it, and you just acted on it because of the pandemic. You adjusted to your environment. You adapted to the circumstances of what was happening. So I feel like that right there is something that you personally just have like instilled, or you have like a certain drive in order to be able to do something like that. You had to have a certain level of just like perseverance, or just like
dog mentality.
Yeah, basically like
dog mentality.
That mentality of like hey, like I'm not gonna let myself get to this, or I'm not gonna just settle for this. Like I'm always gonna go for more. And I feel like that maybe in my eyes, I feel like that this pandemic it showed like people, it makes or breaks you. It truly makes or breaks you, because like for some people it broke them and it made them, I mean, just look, dude, the suicide rate is through the fucking roof in America right now. Like it's ridiculous. And you can't tell me that it doesn't have something to do with COVID-19. I mean, someone losing their job fucking sucks, dog. Starting from ground zero and having to go up and do it over and over, like all over again, after you maybe have put in 4 or 5 years into something, and have to start all over again.
Yeah, and you throw in a family in that situation, it's just awful, because the leading cause of a divorce is financial issues. So I can only imagine the stress it is on married couples and what.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just this is one of those things. I mean, and so America has went through similar things as this, that have hit the economy just as bad. I mean, the Great Depression, the recession. I mean, those are two instances that have happened. I don't want to say the Great Depression was recent time, but the recession definitely was. And you made it, like people made it through that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a mentality. Like you just have to think like, damn, like all right, well, what skill sets do I have? Like, where could I apply myself at something else? And like just make do with what I got for right now. And then you end up finding and falling in love with something that you maybe never knew that you were into, or something like that. You know what I mean? I mean, like you said, you were fucking doing DoorDash, dog, and making just as much as working for what was this again? It was a technician job. So it's like, those skill sets are completely different, but they're basically making the same,
picking up and
they're
delivering
making
food.
the same amount of money. And you know what I mean? But like you said, like that's what was popping. You adapted to your environment. So, and my thing is like, I know a lot of like people, anybody who's like listening to this probably doesn't know, like, obviously Jake and I, unless you know us personally, Jake and I's like background, but like we don't come from like the greatest backgrounds in the world. So like when you see situations like that, and you just adapt to your environments, like it's just a statement. It's like, if we could do it, anybody could do it. Truly. Unless the only exception is if you were born with like some sort of mental or physical disability to where like you literally couldn't perform those duties. But if you are mentally able and physically able, to do the average, 9 to 5 Joe things, there's no reason that you can't like adapt to COVID-19. There's no reason. It's just if there's a will, there's a way. I mean, and you just have to have that mentality. You gotta have faith, and you gotta, just get through it. Think about things that you may have never done before that you could do now. Time that you could spend. It's like you might have been that dad that was always at work and did nothing but work, and you were never around your kids or something like that. But COVID-19 took that away from you. But now you get to look at the bigger picture, and you get to spend more time with your kids or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you get to spend more time with your wife. You get to like just do other things that you may have not necessarily looked at before. Open your eyes up and see the bigger picture. I feel like that's what this pandemic has done for a lot of people, and it really does. It really makes and breaks some people. And unfortunately the suicide rate is through the roof, but that's just natural, and that's what's going to come with anything that destroys the economy. Unfortunately, it's just how it goes statistically. Everybody's situation is different, but if there's a will, there's a way, and I firmly believe that. So I feel like that's enough for this topic, though. Going into what was the topic that you had? Because you had a couple interesting topics. So those were my main two topics that I wanted to talk about. So I'm gonna let Jake kind of take the floor.
Yeah. Well, we can go into females and the dating experience, or beating the odds.
All right. Let's start with females and the
that
dating
kind of-
experience, because this will be an interesting one. All right, so go ahead.
Yeah. So, as far as I've seen, COVID really didn't halt the dating world, and people trying to get a little something out there, because that just falls under human desires and how people are just wired. Some things aren't just gonna change how we operate, and I think COVID really had no impact on people's desire to have a spouse or whatnot. But anyways, when I got out of high school, little secret to give to the world, I had not lost my virginity. 18, had not lost my virginity. And I considered myself a pretty good looking guy, but all throughout primary school, I just was picky. There is a specific type of female I like, and a lot of females just, they were not it.
Yo, this is getting real. He doesn't discriminate,
Um,
but he prefers.
and yes, yes, I don't discriminate, but I prefer. Um, and just the mentality of a lot of females in primary school just did not appeal to me. A lot of people coming out of primary school or in primary school are very invested into entertainment, having fun, figuring stuff out later on. And that's not really how I'm wired. I like having things planned. If, I feel like a dream without a plan is worthless. You could dream of many things, many goals, but if you don't have a plan to get there, a map, then it's pointless. So a lot of these females just did not appeal to me, and I just do not find them like physically attractive. For me, I just, yeah, I don't know. I don't. It's ironic. You would think I'm in, and this kind of was how females on Tinder kind of interpret it is, okay, if this guy's in shape, then he would want someone that has rock hard abs, takes creatine, drinks protein shakes, like whatnot. But I'm really not into chicks that are like super in shape or builds, but I do prefer a female that has like some meat on her bones, has
Yeah,
just
like,
a good looking body, like
normal. It's not like, I don't want to say normal, but like, just average, like, what I mean, just like an average body, you know what I mean, not like, obviously obese, but not, anorexic, like somewhere in the middle, that's what the type of guy that you are and the type of guy that I am. That's just kind of just like how we just are kind of wired, or just like we just kind of like, a female like who's got their shit together, and they're just, their body doesn't have to, your body don't gotta be all there. Your body, it really doesn't, you know what I mean? You don't gotta have rock hard abs if if he's a really fit guy, and you don't gotta be all this. We're more into the mentality and just being more mature, like, type of thing. Like, that's like what's attractive to me. Like, that could jump you from a 7 to a 10, or a 7 to a 9, or a 6 to a 7, or whatever. It's like, whatever. If your mentality is right and you're mature, like, I'm down. Like, you know what I mean? And like, that's kind of what I'm at. But I grew up a lot faster than, I think, and that's another thing you're probably trying to get at, is like, we grew up a lot faster than a lot of the people that we went to primary school with or high school with. And it's just like, those people like live in the moment, and like our mind is just not wired like that. Like, we can't, like, we have to think about the future because of just like our backgrounds, like where we come from. You know what I'm saying? Like, we felt like that we were put here for like very like, we were put here to achieve big things, and like, it's like, I can't achieve those big things if like I'm sitting here living in the moment, drinking, partying, smoking, and doing all these things that are distracting what God has, put in front of me for me to, or what opportunity he's presented to me and I'm supposed to take. It's like, if those are distractions, but that shit's always gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, parties always gonna be there. That alcohol is always gonna be there. Weed's always gonna be there. So it's like, that shit's not going anywhere, dog. Like, you could get that shit anytime.
Yeah, and that's something I'll say I fell victim to right after high school. Is I graduated early, finished the whole semester early, and I moved away from Alaska to Washington State. And I was given the opportunity to have a whole semester to just free roam, do whatever I wanted. And with that time, I got a job, I got a car, and I still had a lot of free time, even with working out. And I was like, okay, let me get into the dating world. This is, I feel like, a good time. I can take care of myself. I can relatively take care of another person. So I got what any young guy would do, I'm trying to get into dating, is Tinder. And social or dating apps have allowed finding a spouse a lot easier, especially for a guy like me. I'm not gonna go out to social or
Yeah, like
public
you're more
places
introverted, and I'm the same way, you know.
to just yeah, like I'm just introverted. I'm not interested in just going off a street and talking to a female. Not that it would be hard for me or I can't. It's just it's not my preferred way, and so Tinder was a good outlet for me. And through Tinder, going on plethora of dates and um, learning different females and how they work, I had a relationship where I fell victim to being whipped.
Why you
I
say
was
it like
whipped.
that? I was whipped. Yeah.
This I was. You could take that how you want it. We'll call it oh, what's a YouTube friendly way of saying this? Cat whipped, right? I was cat whipped. Was my first. She was my first sexual experience I ever had with a female. So she had me whipped, right? I'll just,
Yes.
bite the bullet and admit it, right? I was whipped. And with that, I fell victim to not realizing how bad this person was for me. This female, she did not have a car, right? So you could talk about that for hours of, me always having to drive to pick her up. She was about 30 minutes away, 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. You add in wherever we were going, right? Like, getting places is not for free. That's why there's a whole new market of Ubering and whatever. Getting places is not for free. So that was a big expense. And she did not have a job, a job. She did not have it. I don't think she knew what it was, because this is when COVID first started kicking off. She had the audacity to say her job of delivering food was not making money, and when I finally got around to doing that myself, it proved the opposite. So I don't know what happened there. I just think it was an excuse for her to just be lazy. So in 2 months of this relationship, because this relationship lasted 2 months, right? I went through, disappointingly, like $4,000, $6,000, and that is just a heartbreaking event, right? As an 18-year-old guy having that money, like that's a good start, and wasting that on a relationship was a huge eye opener for me, because after that relationship, I learned to not fall victim to just being satisfied by a female or being pleasured by a female, but having standards of, okay, does this chick have financial goals? Does she have aspirations of doing something with her life? Does she have a car? Does she have a good credit score? Like, whatever. I after that relationship, I had standards that needed to be met, and in a way, I was pretty heartbroken after that relationship. It was my first serious one, and I gave time for myself to recover. I relearned myself and got comfortable being on my own and being happy alone.
Yeah, and let me
So,
intervene real quick. Just
eventually-
to throw out there, like, this applies to females to guys too. So because there's a lot of simps out there that aren't necessarily as like I guess alpha, and they don't want to take charge, and they don't really care. Like, they may not have their life as put together as the guy, and you know what I'm saying. So like, you know, the female could be the one that has the really good credit score and, you know, the car and the job, and then the guy's the one bumming around smoking weed all the time or doing something. So, you know, this goes both ways, because I
Yeah.
mean, me personally, I've seen both. So
Yeah.
it's you know, but
For sure.
just to, you know, I just wanted to put that in there really quick, so you can continue.
But yeah, so when I had recovered from the relationship and I took my learning lessons from it and got back to being able to take care of myself, I decided to go back out there, try for something new. And when I did that, again, I went back on Tinder and I found my current relationship, and I had my standards, you know, mental note in my head of what I wanted from a female, and she met all that criteria. And overall, I'd say for the dating experience and doing it through Tinder, it's pretty good. It's convenient. It's easy. My first experiences with it was awesome because you're able to see what works and just be comfortable talking with another female and stuff, and you're able to learn a lot. That's one thing it allowed me to do, is I was confident in my body, and working out allowed me to be pretty confident. But when it came to talking to females, I just I did not have it. I could
Your
not
boy's
hold
not humorous.
I could not I could not hold conversations that well, and that kind of ties into my introvert nature. I just was not used to really talking to people for super long times, nonetheless a female. And yeah, there were many instances early on in life where I'd be talking to a female on like FaceTime or something, and I just did not have much to
Falling asleep
say.
and
It was really goofy. Yeah, exactly. But that kind of ties into, I didn't know the game of, laughing at females' jokes.
Damn,
Kind of doing that. Yeah,
my
like
man
just getting them
learned
to
the
talk
game,
more.
bro. And anybody who says that they don't know what
Yeah,
they're talking
so-
about or whatever, it's like you know, bro. This is a game, and it goes both ways.
So Tinder helped me learn the dating game pretty fast, and I was able to learn how to talk to females and stuff. And yeah, I'm definitely thankful for the experience.
So, you know, going into that is this article that you sent me. You want to pull some of the statistics? And
Yeah. So this article says couples who meet via dating apps are more likely to settle down. So you suggest. This is a Swiss Federal Statistical fact. It said a quiz that those aged 15 to 79 on a multitude of issues, including where couples and their intentions within that relationship or from a dating app, showed that the younger demographic, or I said the younger demographic, all range statistic showed that these people that used a dating app to meet up and establish some intimate connection, right, were more likely to take it serious and settle down.
yeah.
So
I mean, so me personally, I haven't had too much experience as far as like Tinder and shit goes. I mean, at least like me, and like I just have the worst luck with females, like just in general. Like this shit never works out, and it's like I don't feel like it's really anybody's fault. It's just how, like, you know, my luck goes. And like so. Like because like you said, Jay, like you have like a certain criteria, and it's like, unfortunately, in our age range, which is, you know, I'd say like 18 to 24, our age range is like, you're not gonna meet for the most part, females that are ready to quote unquote settle down, or like be ready to like like start like a
or they just have
or just have
everything
like their
figured
like
out.
somewhat.
And not that we really do, it's just we have a pretty good concept
Exactly,
of
like we
what
have a
that
vision,
looks like
and that's
for
what
us.
that's all that I'm looking for. I'm
Um,
not necessarily looking for a chick to have a fucking master's and like her like be so advanced, like top
Yeah.
at Apple, 6-figure job. Like I'm not looking for that, like you know what I'm saying, like that's not like my thing. Like just like you got a part-time job in college, you got your own car, and like you got a like
Just trying to
basically
get some pay.
like you're
Period.
in college and you're like doing your thing, or like you're full-time at this job and you're trying to work your way up the chain, but you show some sort of like responsibility, like you know what I'm saying, like not that you're just like out at parties every weekend, like just trying to live in the moment. It's just like as introverted people, like we just don't think like that, and it's hard to meet females in our age range that are like like us in a sense, and they exist. But the problem is like when you're introverted, the only place you're really gonna meet those people are on dating websites because they're not gonna be out and about. You're not gonna meet an introverted person at a bar. You're not gonna meet an introverted person at a public setting, just because it's just not how it works. You know what I mean? So but my luck with Tinder, I've only ever matched with one person, and I haven't only ever matched with one person. I matched with multiple people, but like I only actually ever went out and like actually dated somebody like one time, and like it was just kind of like the same thing. Like that's when I like sat down. It's like I think we were both like 19.
What am I doing?
19. Yeah, I think we're both 19, and like you start talking, and like you get it, you go, you link up, like for the most part I think I'm a cool guy, like I'm a I guess I'm a funny dude, I don't know, like maybe not, I don't know. But we like like we started talking and everything like that, and then we jumped into things probably a little too early, like just like dating each other, like like we like declared each other boyfriend and girlfriend after like the first date, and it's just like, bro, like he's moving like way too fast, like you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, and it's like I really don't know like a lot about this chick, like it's hard to like get a gauge for somebody after like the first date, because everybody's gonna be on their best behavior, you know what I'm saying, like on that first date, like you're not really going to see the true side of that person, so like you gotta give him more time, and that's something that I learned like through that experience,
And that was it was hard for me getting into my current relationship, because just how my dating style was prior to meeting this female was fast paced. I only knew going through things quickly, right? So when I met this chick and she was kind of not like that, it definitely took
it's a nice like change of pace, because that's another thing too, like you have to take into consideration when you're going on dating apps, is there on dating apps like Tinder, like you're gonna meet the majority of chicks that just want to fuck, or how many chicks like I'm matched with, and like they just asked like me, hey do you got any weed, do you got it, or like like I'm a fucking drug dealer, like come on yo, like this is just, if you're a guy at whatever your preference is, I don't give a fuck, go on Tinder and just scroll, bruh, like swipe left, swipe right, whatever the fuck, you will see somebody in probably 10 swipes that says looking for a smoke buddy, 420 friendly, this and that. It's like, all right, bro, like like come on, this is just ridiculous. And I'm not like judging like those people or anything like that, but it's just like, god damn, bro. And then the fucked up part is like I get shit on because like she's like, I'm just like, because I respect what somebody does, you know what I'm saying? If you smoke, it's like that's cool, but like I don't, so it's like like, all right, let's meet up and like see what's up. But like the moment she's like, oh, you selling, or oh, like you want to you smoke, 420 friendly, like, and then I say no, and it's just unmatched, like shit on immediately, fuck you, never to be seen, blocked. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, bro. Like, that's the point that we're at. Like, we're out here just slinging fucking meat, like, basically at like at each other. Like, we're just fucking there for just like parts like that. There's no depth to apps like Tinder or Bumble. Like, there's no depth to it, dog. Like, you match with somebody and they're probably just there for you to smash, especially the guys, you know, for the most part. I blame majority of these dudes, to be honest with you, because they there for all the wrong reasons. Motherfuckers be simps. And you know, like but girls, like, y'all motherfuckers are guilty too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what's going on. Like, it's Tinder, so like, it's, and the thing is like, as a female, like, you gonna have options, especially if you're an attractive female. You gonna have options. So it's like, it's just, I don't know, it just is. It's a very interesting scene, but there's a lot for you to learn, like, getting into that stuff, though, that I will say, that teaches you like different things that maybe you didn't necessarily know about yourself, like, prior to doing it. So it opened my eyes, that's for sure. But what made me delete Tinder, which I'll tell this story, I told Jake yesterday, was there was this chick that I matched with, and of course she's a drinker, she's a smoker, she's a partier, she's all these things that I don't do. So I'm just like, okay, whatever, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a guy that like respects like what you like to do. Just don't force me to do the shit that you want to do. You're your own person, I'm my own person. Let's see where it goes, right? I'm open-minded, whatever. So she starts talking to me, and like, we're talking, like, I get her number, like, we FaceTime or whatever, and like, we're talking, and like, she starts like telling me how, like, oh yeah, like, she doesn't like police, like this and that, because I guess defund the police shit was really popping at the time, and that's just what it was. And I was just like, oh, that's, like, why, like, do you, and then like, she was kind of just like telling me like, different reasons and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, you ever have anything personally happen to you, like, bad with like police or anything, or like a personal bad experience? And she was like, yeah, I actually was driving to my college to meet up with my ex-boyfriend one night, and then like we met and like we smashed, and then like, like, we partied that night, we drank, and then like I left that morning. And she didn't say smash, but like, I'm trying to sum up the story. Long story short, so
yeah.
And she's like, we left that morning, or I left that morning, and I was driving home, but she was still hungover, right? So like, she's hungover, and like, she drives, and I guess like she like wasn't looking or whatever, and like, there was like a red light, and there was a car in front of her, and she like basically rammed into the back of this person, like, drove like head on, like right into this person, like just didn't press the brake or anything, like just didn't stop. Like, thank God, like, she wasn't going fast, she wasn't on the highway or nothing goofy like that, so like, everybody was okay. But the problem is like, number one, she's still drunk, like, so that's a DUI right there. Number two, she's underage, so that's another issue. Number three, she left the scene, which I didn't find that out until I looked this shit up on our state case search. Cause I was like, I looked this chick up. It's like, obviously you get someone's name from like Tinder, and like, I figured out like her last name and shit. So I looked it up, and I found out like all this chick's charges, her court date. I was just like, oh, this is why you don't like police. and then I was just like, yo, this is the craziest shit, bro. I'm just like, yo, like, I really almost like went out like with this fucking
criminal.
Yeah, basically. Like, and she was telling me like how like she's working part-time, but like her mom had to drop her off. But like, dude, this chick's like 20, she's in college. She was talking about that, it's funny too, like, why do criminals always try and become lawyers, yo? She was telling me how she was like trying to go to law school, like all this other stuff. Like, what? Yo, like, you trying to be your own lawyer to beat your own case? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, this is just out there, bro. Like that's what made me delete Tinder. I'm sorry, bro. That went just too far for me, and I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I guess I'm dying alone, cause there's like I can't go like that. Like, fuck that, man. So yeah, that's my dating experience, and at least as far as like Tinder goes. And you know, like, I understand, like, for a lot of guys out there or whatever, it may not be anything close or similar, but I mean, I just know, like, me, like, I am just the unluckiest person, like, when it comes to like dating scenes and shit like that in general. Like, I just don't have good luck with this shit. So, you know, it just is what it is.
And I wouldn't say I, in a way, I do either, because I had one high school relationship, which was a flop, and then I obviously had my first relationship from Tinder. But prior to getting into that Tinder relationship, I had gone on many different dates, and they just were not what I wanted. And then after I got in that relationship and I realized, okay, she was what I wanted, but she definitely was not what I needed. So I reestablished what I was gonna look for in a female, and I had went on a ton more dates, and these females were in
Ready
it.
for the streets.
And after I went on this one date with this short Latina female, and we had a decent first date, but we started getting into, you know, brass tacks, and I was like, okay, well, do you got a car? Do you got a job? She said no for both of those things. She apparently was focused on getting in to Harvard, and she was a huge education head apparently, and I respected that, right? Getting into an Ivy League school is definitely something to be appraised for, or be
proud of, yeah.
You know, whatever. But for me, I needed someone that, you know, wanted to be taken care of, but also could take care of me, because as a man, it's, for at least for a long time in American society, has been the man takes care of the female. But in 21st century, it goes both ways. The man, it isn't on just the male to take care of, you know, the relationship and whatever. It goes both ways in today's society. So knowing this, I wasn't just gonna be the one that was paying for everything, this and that, and being fine with that. So I decided, okay, I mean, she has a good personality, and she has some kind of goal, but she didn't meet being able to take care of me. So I said no to that relationship, cut it off, and I wasn't too sure about making that decision, but she simply just did not meet my criteria. And right after that, literally next Tinder match after that, I met my girlfriend. So in a way, I felt like God, you know, Christianity being my religious preference, blessed me with the opportunity to be with my current girlfriend, because it was a learning lesson for me to accept that this person didn't meet my standards, and I'm not going to compromise what I'm looking for in a female. I'm going to be patient and wait till the right female that I feel is suited for me comes along. And right after I accepted that, to be patient, you know, God flew in this female for me. So,
you know, maybe that's the case, you know, for me, or, you know, whatever, for anybody out there who's for anybody out there who's, you know, and kind of in the same situation. It's just like, you know, there's somebody out there for you. You just gotta find
and
it.
It's about granting yourself more opportunities to find that person, granting more opportunities. and that ties into me and you and how we are as people, is just
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
beating the
Let's get
odds.
into that conversation. So
Yeah. Uh, so how we're wired is, and what differentiates us between the average Joe at 21 years of age or whatever
by the way, at the
is
time of this recording, I'm 20
we.
and Jake, you're 19, right? Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Birthday is in 9 days. Yes, sir. um, but how we're different is we see opportunities, right? And other males do too. Like whether it be an athletic scholarship or I don't know, going to a really good school. I don't know what other guys do at our age. We're going completely different paths. But in general, we see opportunities, right? Other guys see them too, but we do our best at taking every opportunity that is presented. We recognize them
And running with that,
and we
you
take
know,
them.
not looking back, and that's the thing. Like there is no,
Yeah,
for somebody like me, I'm not gonna really get into like neither of us can really get into what we do, just because, you know, like my shit isn't as secret as Jake's, but we both work in fields where we probably shouldn't be talking about it. You know, they're both government related. So basically, like we take opportunities and we run with it and we don't look back. There is no reserve. For somebody like me, I knew I wasn't going to college, right? You know, and it's like and so
yeah.
like I was
You
like,
know,
fuck it. Like if I'm not doing that, like while I was in high school, like I already knew, like, cause I hated school. Like I was like, I already knew, like I wasn't taking that route. So if that was the case, it was like, all right, well, how am I gonna be successful then? And so like that's when I sat down and like really thought about what I wanted to do, and I found my field and I got into my field. Like I applied for my field like while I was still in high school, and then I ended up getting into it 8 months after, and when I graduated and everything, and got into it, and I've never looked back since. And like the best decision like I ever made, like, and it's like really working out for me and everything like that. You know, I'm just like I'm doing fine, like, you know, and Jake's finally getting into his thing, and like, you know, he's been what is it? It took you like a year, like top, basically for what he had to do. He had to get like
yeah.
top security clearance. Basically, it's serious shit. So that shit's no joke. So like, you know, getting into any like processes like, you know, that's government related is no fucking joke, and it's hard. But it's like for people like, you know, and at the time, like I'm 18, like, you know, he's 19, like, and doing like this crazy shit that like, you know, people like way above like our age bracket like uh are doing then, you know, when they get out of college or whatever. It's like we didn't wait for that. You know, it's like we kind of got into it like super young, and it's like you really don't know like what like the future has in stock for you, and you just kind of start like figuring it out like as you're going along. But at the same time, like it's opportunity that you're acting upon. And like me personally, like knowing that like I didn't want to go to college, I knew like I had to beat the odds. Like, what are the chances that
Yeah.
I could get out of high school, barely graduate high school, mind you? Like, I think I graduated, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll say this on a podcast all day, bro. I graduated with, like, I think a point something or a 1 point something. My GPA was shit, dog. I wasn't even in school for the majority of my senior year. Like, so, like, but then I get out and I finally get into, like, you know, what I've been wanting to do. And it's like, now I make more than my teachers, right? Like, and it's just like the same people that, like, you know, when I talked to my teachers and like I told them like kind of what I wanted to do and just like shit, and I'm not like knocking like all my teachers or like, you know, like anybody who like, you know, is an influence, because I understand there's a lot of people, but it's just like they didn't it's like people aren't gonna understand what they aren't gonna be a part of, or what they can't foresee. Like if they don't have the same vision as you, it it's just like art. Like somebody
Yeah.
like painting a picture, right? It's like only that person like may be talented enough to like paint a picture in the way that everybody else can see it. And that's what I feel like you and I both like have. It's kind of just like this crazy idea of like being like, you know, starting like very like, you know, adult careers at like such young ages, and like, you know, beating the odds by any means. Like, you know, like no matter what you throw at me, like I don't give a fuck. Like by society standards, I wasn't supposed to be successful. I'm not supposed to be where I'm at right now by society standards. Like my, you know how many teachers like looked at me like when I
Yeah.
told them like I wasn't going to college, like, you know what I mean, and we're just like kind of just looked at me like, oh, like, you know, you're just gonna be a bum. Like they never would say that, but like, you know, they kind of insinuate that, like, you know, just like they don't talk to you, or like, you know, they just kind of look away, like, you know, just turn a blind eye to you. And it's like instead of like standing by you, like, you know, because that's like all everyone talks about in high school is, oh man, I'm going to this college, I'm doing this, and you know, I'm going to Solid, I'm going to this college, I'm going to Harvard, I'm going to this. But it's like, dog, like, what if like you don't want to take that route? What if you want to hop off the porch like right out the gate?
Hmm.
And it's like that's something, for some reason in our society these days, that's something that's so
Yeah.
abstract. Like, oh my god, like you're not going to college, you're gonna be a fucking homeless
Yeah.
fuck, you're gonna be broke, you're gonna be fucking scraping for pennies, looking like Squidward outside the cardboard box. You know what I mean? It's like, bruh, like it just doesn't work like that. It's like maybe I just had a vision that you could never foresee. You live inside a box where you
Yeah.
think, oh, if you want to be successful, you need a bachelor's degree. And it's like, if you don't have a bachelor's degree, in some people's eyes, you're not fucking successful. But then how the fuck does a kid with a 0 point some GPA make more than these motherfuckers that graduate with bachelor's and master's degrees? How the fuck does that happen? It's because maybe I just ran with opportunity.
Yeah. It has a huge, yeah, and the reason for this is it's huge that media, social media, any entertainment platform uh, creates this cliche, I guess, of what an American, young American, should do to be quote unquote successful in our society, and that's going to college. And me and you, I would say, aren't as invested as other people in our age range in social media, getting satisfaction from it, getting information from it, and these people
Yeah,
buy
that's standard.
into
Like that oh,
the
like I need to
idea.
take this route.
Yeah, that's yeah, exactly the standard, that this is how societies work. This is how our society works, and this is the way it
I
has to
hate
be.
that. You know, it's like why, like why is it like that? You know what I mean? Like it's just like you're looked at like a piece of shit. And I'm telling you, just like from at least my personal experience, you are looked at like fucking scum of the earth if you don't go to college at like, you know, any campus or any fucking, like nobody would, like everybody just turns a blind eye to you, like, you know what I mean, as if a degree means something. It's just a piece of paper, dog. You know what I mean? Like common sense like is not all that common.
Yeah.
But you got a lot of fucking smart people
Yeah.
out here, you know, with degrees that can't get jobs. And it's
I'm
like,
just saying, a lot of people are, yeah, a lot of people are smart, but smart in whatever field. But at the end of the day, I think above all else, the most smarts that matters is financial smarts, and that's not something an art degree or whatever is gonna,
yeah,
that you have. And I think we both recognize with a little bit. I'd be bold to say we have a lot more financial smarts than people at our age right now. And with that, we realize you can set yourself up
Yeah,
financially
you
without
can.
having
But
a
it's like,
degree.
like I said, it's such an
So
abstract thing. It's like, oh my God, like, you know, like if you don't go to college, you're gonna fucking fail. And like, it's just like, I feel like that's why a lot of people go to college, is because there's that stigma. It's like, yeah, like they want to have like something to fall back on, and I'm all for that. You know, I'm all for if like you get a degree, you know, later on in life, you know, to fall back on. But I don't think, if you want to go to like and get like a fucking 4-year degree in general studies, like that's really gonna benefit anybody except the school, because now you're $50,000 in student loan debt and you have no job. It's like, you know, we kind of need to use common
yeah,
sense here. Like, does what I want to do require a degree? And how bad do I really want to do it? Am I dedicated enough to it to not only go and get the education for it, but then beyond that education, get a job for it and make money at that job, enough to pay off that, you know, to offset that cost, to where long term you're setting yourself up. But nobody thinks long term, dog. They're like,
yeah,
oh, I want to go to a party school. Like, motherfuckers don't even have like legitimate reasons for going to college these days. They fucking pick like the like school that has like the biggest parties, or like, you know, the most raves, or like whatever. Like,
yeah,
and you know, it's another thing, like, you know, that I feel like that we could
yeah,
talk about this on a whole nother podcast, is another podcast episode, is fraternities and shit like that, or whatever. Like, this shit is just weird.
yeah.
But I'm not gonna dive down that rabbit hole. I need to
Uh,
add, I need to do an episode on that.
that is something that is just super prevalent in society that
Facts.
is
But
not talked about enough.
honestly, I feel like that there's a certain level too of like, when you're basically, you start becoming successful when you stop giving a fuck. Like, you
Yeah,
think I got where I am right now, and you think you got where you are right now because you cared what somebody else thought? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't let social media influence me. Like, I don't let other people's opinions influence me. Like,
yeah.
I'm my own person.
And a lot of big name successful people have been the same way. So I mean, it shows it works. Like Walt Disney, one of the very first places where he was trying to get his art out there was newspaper, and they pretty much said, okay, your cartoons are shit, get out of here, you bum. But he kept going, and I mean, look at his name today, look what it represents
Yeah.
today. And same thing goes for someone like, and I discussed this with Nick, is Denzel Washington. At the start of his career in acting, because, and we could tie this into the degrees and stuff. He was going to school for a medical degree, and it just was not for him. He didn't like the medical minutia. It just wasn't the route for him, and he started looking into other things, and that was acting. And at the start of his career in acting, he tried getting into a play at this theater. So he goes out, does this play, and does everything he can to get this role. And at the end of the day, they denied him it. It wasn't in the cards for him. So this is obviously a huge point for him. He spent a lot of time in getting a medical degree, tried something new, which was acting, and at the start of it, he gets denied. It seems like it's not working out, but not caring about what they had to say, about his acting and um, whether he was suit for doing that line of work. He kept going, and he's a big name actor now. So I feel like not caring about what people have to say and just being, if you're passionate about it, that alone um, will make you super successful in the long run.
You know, like that's what I was saying. It was just, I am not where I'm at because I gave a fuck what people thought, and I really just don't. I don't care, because at the end of the day, think of it this way: it's like nobody pays your bills, like you pay your bills. You know what I'm saying? Like I got my own shit that I gotta take care of, and like, you know, shit that I want and things that I want to do. And if you're not bringing nothing to the table for me, then why should your opinion influence my vision? It's not going to, and I'm not gonna let it. And because, you know, for all those people that, you know, I went to high school with, all those teachers that may have turned a blind eye to me or whatever, it's like, I'm here, and I'm here to stay, and I'm not going nowhere. And like, you know, I'm gonna, you know, prove you wrong, because that's just my vision, you know what I'm saying? And that's just what I have. And like, I don't care like what you have to say or what your opinion is. You have to prevail, and like beating the odds in that situation, and prevailing like beyond, you know, teachers and people that you went to high school with, like, you know, looking at you a certain way because you don't have the same vision as them. Nah, yeah. I'm not gonna let it influence me. It's not gonna be me. So yeah, man, this has been the Enrgy podcast. If y'all like the podcast, just give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all that bullshit. All of our social medias will be linked down below. And I will catch you guys in the next podcast. Peace.